Good afternoon and welcome to the press conference on the 5th Brussels Conference on Supporting the Future of Syria and the Region, co-chaired by the European Union and the United Nations. Speaking today will be the High Representative Vice President Josep Borrell from the EU side and from the United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, Mr. Mark Lowcock, who is connecting remotely. But without further delay, I give you the floor, High Representative.
Good afternoon. This is the 5th time that the European Union is organizing a conference on supporting the future of Syria and the region. This is nothing to be celebrated. It just shows how tragic and prolonged the situation is for the Syrian people. From the European Union, it conveys a simple message. The European Union has stood by the Syrians and by those welcoming them as refugees throughout the crisis. And we will continue to do so for as long as it takes. We all know how devastated Syria is today, how much suffering and pain its people are enduring since 10 years already. The destruction, torture, enforced disappearances, chemical weapons, the forced displacement of people. In 10 years, more than 400,000 people have died. Perhaps 100,000 have disappeared. Over 12 million refugees and internally displaced, and today, over 13 million people need humanitarian assistance. Over half of them are children. A generation of Syrians has only known war. Yet, to get the remedy right, we must not forget the causes of the problem. Exactly 10 years ago, Syrians peacefully took the streets asking for freedom, justice, and economic perspective. The regime responded with extreme violence, unable and unwilling to meet those demands. The situation escalated into the deadly conflict that we know. The changes that Syrians peacefully called to have not taken place. If anything, the demands have piled up. Today, we reaffirm the support of the international community for United Nations Security Resolution 2254. Over 85 delegates from more than 55 countries and over 25 international organizations gathered virtually, reconfirming the resolution's core message. Syrians must decide their future of Syria. And the future of Syria belongs to none of the factions and to none of the outside powers. It's for Syrians to shape in Syrian-owned and Syrian-led negotiations under the auspices of the United Nations. The Syrian regime must take steps in that direction. If they do, we will respond. In the meantime, we will keep mobilizing all our efforts to meet the increasing needs of the Syrian people and of the neighborhood countries hosting 5.6 million refugees. One has to pay tribute to Jordan, Lebanon, and Turkey, to their extraordinary generosity, and let me also mention Egypt and Iraq in this respect. Throughout the past 10 years, the European Union and its member states have been the largest provider of support to Syrians, with close to 25 billion delivered since the beginning of the crisis. This conference is the main yearly pledging event for Syria and the region. A central aim is to ensure that the United Nations appeal is met as fully as possible, especially considering the extra challenge of COVID. I am happy today to announce a new European Union pledge of 560 million, the same amount that was pledged last year. This Brussels conference has become key over the years to underline political and financial support, but also to address the most critical humanitarian and resilient issues, all of them affecting Syrian and neighbouring countries and communities hosting Syrian refugees. That includes being able to access and protect Syrians in need, irrespective of where they find themselves. Finally, this Brussels conference are also a space for civil society to meet and discuss among themselves and with international organizations and decision makers from the EU and the UN. Over the past 2 weeks, a broad range of topics ranging from disability to independent media have been addressed in over 40 side events. Yesterday, the Day of Dialogue gave a space to input of civil society consultations gathered from over 1,500 respondents. The voice of civil society is crucial to understand fully what is happening, what is needed, and how tomorrow Syria can be shaped and built. They carry hope for their future, for a peaceful and different Syria. Syria's women and youth, in particular, hold the key to that future. They are not giving up, and neither we are. We continue standing for the Syrian people.
Thank you very much, High Representative.